Hiya! So today I'm going to be talking about something that I've not really ever spoken about on my channel before, and that is music. Interesting, I know. I've already talked about music on my channel a lot because it's not really something relevant to my channel, but I've kind of had an epiphany and come to the conclusion that this is my channel and it's a platform to speak about things that I like and things that I'm passionate about, so I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to be doing a music tag, so basically answering questions about music, and I found two different sets of questions and I kind of just picked ones from each set of questions, and yeah, let's learn about my musical taste. And I want to learn about yours as well, so feel free to answer any of the questions in the comments. You don't have to do them all, but I like to know what people's music preferences are. It's always a good way to kind of find new music, and I have a very open music taste anyway. Like, I like bits from pretty much every genre, so yeah. And I'm not anyway like musically inclined or anything. I can't sing, I can't play an instrument or anything like that. I am just a avid fan of all things music. So, you know, it's the year 2017. I don't really go and buy CDs anymore. I do buy vinyl now, strangely enough. But the artist that I own the most CDs by, does that make sense? The artists whose albums I own the most of are Busted, because they were my favourite band when I was younger, and obviously they've made a comeback and I did buy their CD. That was the first CD I bought in like 10 years, so I own all of their CDs and the majority of their singles. And so yeah, they would be the artists that I own the most physical hard copy of. I'm just gonna pop onto Spotify to find out the last song that I listened to, and I was actually halfway through listening to a song before I started recording this video. I was listening to Build a Home by the Cinematic Orchestra, and that is from, I'm actually listening to my all-time faves playlist, which I don't think is public on Spotify, because I'd link my Spotify down in the description, but I don't think that playlist is public because I'm a bit frightened of being judged by some of the songs that I consider to be an all-time favourite song, but we'll go into that. So I haven't actually been to a gig in years, which kind of pains my soul, because there was a time where I was going to like local gigs every weekend. So the last show I went to was whenever I went to see Baby Shambles, which was either 2013 or 2014. I'll probably just write on the screen just for context what it was, because I'll look it up later. So yeah, that was the last gig I went to, Baby Shambles. It was an awesome gig. I was right at the front. I could almost smell peat from the front. Yeah, that was like one of the wickedest nights. I'd always much rather go for a small intimate gig than like a big stadium gig. I feel like the fact that I could have grabbed him if I wanted to. That sounds really creepy. Great show I attended. See, so many shows I've seen have been great for different reasons. Obviously when I saw Busted, that was like a very emotional night for me, because they were my favourite band and I was like 10 years old and I was like crying. But obviously like grown up me has been to some pretty different kind of vibe shows. The first like gig that I think I remember, like proper gig, not just local gigs, that I remember going to without like adult supervision, I went to the Enter Shikari, and that was an awesome night because we had tickets in, our tickets were seating tickets, like up on a balcony thing, and we got up there and we were like, this is shit. Like, I was used to being in the mosh pit and stuff, so we went back down into the foyer and we managed to swap our tickets with someone, or they just gave us their tickets. I don't remember how we blacked it, but we ended up being able to go into the standing area. I was in the mosh pit. It was a school night and there was beer in my hair and everything, and it was like just one of the best nights in my life. I just thought it was so awesome. So that's probably like the gig where I just have really amazing memories of, and if that's the one that comes to me off the top of my head, that's probably the best gig I've been to. There would be two, okay, so I would have to say Matt Willis from Busted, because he's just my all-time, I love him, and I feel like he's just would be a really easy guy to talk to and stuff like that. But another one would be Ed Sheeran, because I just feel like he would be just the most down to earth. You wouldn't feel like you're walking on eggshells around him like you might with other like massive celebrity musicians and stuff. I just feel like he's the just go down the pub for a pint with kind of bloke. and it would just be cushy, it would just be really fun. So I would say Ed Sheeran, Matt Willis, maybe even together. That would be like the best day of my life. Just go down the pub with Ed Sheeran and Matt Willis. Oh my god, imagine. I actually thought long and hard about this. Actually, I didn't think that long. I maybe thought for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And I know someone that I want to say, but I feel like it sounds really insulting. Let me see when she last had an album out before I go into this. Last had an album out in 2013, so yes, I can say that this would be a comeback. But I want a different kind of comeback, okay? So when I was a kid, I loved Avril Lavigne. She was one of the first gigs I ever went to. Awesome gig, loved it so much. And so I would love Avril Lavigne to make a comeback, but with an album that's comparable to her debut album, because, and her follow-up album as well. Like Let Go was one of my favourite albums growing up, and it just really resonated with me, and I loved it, and it was just so much grit. And she was like, what, 18 when she did that album, and it's one of those songs where I'll never skip a song on it. I love every song. So I would love her to make a comeback, but with the kind of style of Let Go, and like, sure, that's the Girlfriend song was like fun and hey hey hoo hoo, but like it just didn't grip me like Let Go did, and a lot of the songs from whatever her second album was as well. So yeah, that's who I'd like to make a comeback. If I had a time machine, I would see Nirvana. That they would be like the #1 that I'd want to see, but I don't have a time machine, so I've always wanted to see Eminem. I feel like I would be like really not fitted at an Eminem concert, but he is the one that I would always want to go see. I remember when I was like 9 years old, 9 or 10, and learning all of the words to Stan and just feeling like a fucking boss. Like I was probably, no, I'd have been younger than 9 or 10, I was like 7 or 8. Learning all the words to Stan and getting away with swearing in it because it's a song. That probably sounds really bad, but yeah, Eminem has been musically like a part of my life for a really long time, and I'd love to see him live. I'm trying to think about this, and as I'm getting older, my little noggin doesn't work as well as it used to, so I think it's a draw between Busted and McFly, because I remember I saw Busted when I was really young at Wembley, and I saw them at a gig in Hyde Park, and McFly were also at that gig in Hyde Park, and then I saw McFly again at a local gig, which was amazing. Like literally they were 2 miles away from my house. It was insane. And that was when I was maybe 15 or 16, which was so cool. So yeah, and I kept thinking, have I seen one of them more than those 2 times? And I don't think I have. So yeah, it's a tie between Busted and McFly. Although saying that, do you know Avril Lavigne might have been at that Hyde Park gig as well? So I can't quite remember. I might investigate, even though you really don't care, but I do for my brain. I'm gonna guess what year this was. Let's say 2004. I remember Jamelia was there. That was something I really remember. You're a superstar. Such a good song. Cause you got all eyes on you no matter where you are. Was Beyonce there? Oh my god, I might have seen Beyonce live. Mystique, Nelly Furtado, Simply Red, Sugar Babes, Atomic Kitten, Avril Lavigne, Beyonce, Blue, Busted. Yes, yes, this was the one. I swear it was. Oh my god, I can't believe I've seen Beyonce live and didn't even remember. Maybe I was like zonked out after crying about Busted, and I would have only been like 9. Okay, McFly weren't there then, if that is the right lineup. Okay, so Busted and Avril Lavigne are the tie, I think. Nice. No, I remember what it was. I think McFly came on Busted's set maybe. I can't remember. I don't remember things from when I was 9, and you can't hold that against me. I used to have a bloody list of my favourite movie soundtracks, and I can't remember where I kept this list. It might be on IMDb. I do like an IMDb list. My favourite movie soundtracks. Okay, so there are 7 items in this list, but I feel like some of them are lying, so I'm not going to include all of these. So, The Great Gatsby is one of my favourite soundtracks. Drive, of course. I really want Drive soundtrack on vinyl. I've got Spring Breakers on here, which, I don't know, I feel like it did have a good soundtrack, but I haven't added to this list in years. I'm going to throw it out there and just say any Tarantino movie is going to have a banging soundtrack. Kill Bill, obviously, just has an amazing soundtrack. I can't really think of any others, but like Drive and The Great Gatsby, I know are like my two faves. Probably like loads of amazing ones I'm missing, but I don't really just want to like put too much thought into this. I don't really know who I could say my favourite artist is at the moment, because I've been listening to quite a lot of old music, well, not old music, but I've been listening to a lot of stuff I listened to when I was a teenager lately. So I listened to like a lot of My Chemical Romance and stuff like that. So I kind of want to find like a new artist to say, someone that's like up and coming or something, but I don't really know who to say. No artist that I'm like currently obsessed with, because I tend to just listen to individual songs a lot of the time. I actually don't know who to say for this. Who's my favourite artist at the moment? I don't think I can actually make a decision on this, because like I said, I do just literally, a lot of the time I just, because I do my Spotify playlist, a lot of them by years, so I just put my 2017 playlist, and that just includes any song that I like that came out in 2017, and I just literally just shuffle that a lot of the time. Either that, or I'm going between like my favourite albums, so sometimes I'll just stick on like oh god, my brain has gone too much. What's the Story, Morning Glory, I just stick on that a lot of the time. All of Panic at the Disco albums I stick on a lot. So yeah, I can't really answer this question. I don't know why I chose it. So I actually just mentioned a musician who I feel is underrated, and I feel like he's underrated for his vocals. So I'm going with Brendan from Panic at the Disco as an underrated musician, because his vocals are insane, and I know like fans of Panic at the Disco and stuff recognise that his vocals are insane, but I feel like he doesn't get enough recognition for it. And I also feel, I don't know, are they, how far do you have to say is underrated? I don't know. I feel like Plan B is also sort of underrated, and I've been a fan of Plan B since Who Needs Actions When You Got Words, which was his debut album, which was a very different style to The Defamation of Strickland Banks. The Defamation of Strickland Banks, that was just, if you're not into like rap, then don't listen to it, but that album really, like, I don't know, I listened to that just all the time when I was younger, and I actually listened to it yesterday as well, because I just thought, do you know what, I need this album in my life right now. Not right now, but like, you know, it's just sometimes nice to listen to songs that you listen to a lot, like growing up and stuff. The Defamation of Strickland Banks is one of the finest albums, I personally think. And yeah, so that's a wicked album. I feel like I've digressed a lot on a lot of these questions. I have a few guilty pleasure songs, and they live in my all-time faves playlist. So the songs that I keep in my all-time faves playlist are indeed obviously my favourite songs, but there's 68 songs in there, so they're not all like my favourites. So a lot of the songs in here are songs that either I listened to a lot growing up, or really resonated with me, or I feel like maybe shaped me as a person, etc, etc. So there are a few songs in here that you might perceive as being a bit cringe, but they're songs that I obviously needed when I was growing up, or some lame crap like that. So I've got a few guilty pleasures. So Breathe Easy from Blue, that's one of my favourites, and I feel like everyone's vocals on that song is strong as hell. Like Lee Ryan kills it in that song, just saying. And then I remember buying these singles. So we've got Real to Me by Brian McFadden and Almost Here by Brian McFadden featuring Delta Goodrem. And do you know what, I'm not ashamed to say that I like those songs. I love those songs, and I've probably still got the singles of them somewhere, and they're just cracking songs. I don't care if they're by Brian McFadden. Neither should you. Listen to them, they're good songs. And what's the other one that I feel like people would judge me for? I've got a couple of Will Young songs on there as well. So I've got Who Am I by Will Young and Leave Right Now. I've got a lot of different like vibes on my all-time faves playlist. I've got like My Chemical Romance, The Kooks, Coldplay, Cher Lloyd, Kings of Leon, Professor Green, Sting, Oasis, Paolo Nutini, Blink-182, Paramore, Maroon 5, Robbie Williams, just loads of different stuff. Like, I love music. What can I say? My favourite songs of all time, like the one that I always said was my favourite song, although it might not be now, definitely in my top 5, is actually a Slipknot song. So Slipknot and Brian McFadden, the ultimate pairing. So that is the first music kind of themed video that I've ever done, and I feel like music is such a universal language. 99.99% of us probably listen to music every day. I know I listen to music like every waking moment, so I don't know, I just felt like this is kind of thing I wanted to do, and I feel like there might be another video I do where I talk about like my favourite ever albums, like if we talk about albums that you never skip a song on, because like I have favourite albums but there might be like just one song that I'm like not for me, but there are like a handful of fucking radical albums that I never need to skip a song on because they are just perfect to me. Yeah, to me. They might not be perfect to you, but it's fun to have a discussion about these things, and I don't know why my voice went really high there. So yeah, I really hope you guys like this video. It's kind of a weird, kind of chatty kind of affair, but a little bit different. A little bit different to me just doing my makeup, showing you clothes and stuff like that. Although that might be what you've subscribed for. You might not have liked this video, but that's okay. That's okay. And I'm going to stop rambling now. Thanks for watching. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here. And I'll see you guys in my next one.